I have started to work through again the uh, Alfred Cortot exercises, the rational principles of pianoforte technique. I studied these principles when I was a youngster, when I was in college, and um, they really embody uh, everything I think about touching the piano, playing the piano. So I revisited these exercises this week because it's been 4 months, 3 months since 3 months since my surgery. It's been a month since I returned to work, and I'm still feeling disconnected uh, in my general physiology. But in particular, when I'm at the piano, my fingers are moving, and it's not like I feel like my hands don't work, but I'm not feeling the sense of the keys. Often when I practice, I lift my knee up to below the base of the key bed and press in, because the tactile sensation of playing is so important to me. And it always was, even before I started to lose my hearing. So I've just decided for the next week or so, I may practice some music, but I'm going to spend most of my time at the piano working on these exercises. So let me see if I can figure out how to insert. I recorded a few minutes this morning, and some of the things that I will comment on these exercises. To start with, they're very simple, at least in this first section. They get more complicated as they focus on crossing the thumb under and playing arpeggios. But these exercises are never like Hanon. They're never etudes. They're not like pieces that have been written. They really are very specific gestures and motions of the hand, wrist, and arm, and how to coordinate them. And in this first set, the keys you begin with all the keys depressed. So everything happens with the keys fully down and the body weight leaning onto the bridge of the hand. And then in the different patterns, the fingers are lifted up. First one at a time, then two at a time, three, and up to patterns where there's quite a complex alternation between struck keys and depressed keys. So this is to build articulation, to build independence of the fingers. In this first exercise, it's also important that the flesh of the fingers never leave the key. So although there are exercises later where different fingers will strike different articulations, either holding a note down in staccato or trying to strike staccato and legato at the same time with the hands. This is not one of those exercises. It's a consistent weight, and the fingers are bearing the full weight of the torso at this point. You're really leaning into it, and then lifting up and not removing touch from the keys either on the way down or the beak at the top. And while doing that, keep smooth. When I was working on these this morning, I noticed that that's the first area I need to work on. It was quite obvious that at the rise of the keys, I was sort of jerking my fingers away from the keys without meaning to, and to no benefit except to feel kind of disconnected, right? So there's a sense of weight that is controlled into the keys because you start at the base and because you lift up only to the top. You become very aware of the depth of the key and the motion that's required to depress the key consistently. I love these exercises. I really do feel like it. And you can see through the video, I'm making all kinds of micro adjustments to my shoulders and my arms, and gestures, because when the exercises are fluid, so is the arm, so is the weight. The wrist is never like this. The wrist is always straight, but always relaxed. The bridge of the hand is never collapsed like this. It's always smooth. I tend to play with curly fingers. It's good to practice with a flatter touch as well. That's a very French style. So one of the other reasons I really love these exercises is my teacher at Bates was herself a student of Courtauld, and she was very young when she was a student with Courtauld. She was 10 and up through her teens. She married an American after World War II and moved to the States. He was on the faculty at Bates in, I believe, the economics department. And she taught, and it was such a treasure to be taught by this wonderful woman and this very kind and thoughtful teacher with this tradition and lineage behind her. I consider one of the great gifts of my life is to have had that, and I like to think that even then I appreciated it. But today, as I'm practicing these exercises, I find myself imagining what it would be to be working with her, with Natasha, on these exercises now. And I try not to let that feel like a regret. But I do have a regret, which is that I never once took a lesson from her in French, even though in college I was taking college level French. Was relatively fluent, certainly more fluent than I am now, even after I've been studying it again for a few years. But how wonderful would that have been to it just never occurred to me. It just never crossed my mind to do that. Because, when you're 19 and 20, dumb, very dumb. So I'm hoping that focus on these exercises just gets my shit back, gets my embodiment at the keyboard back. I know my hearing is going to get worse. But I'm okay with that. I'm not thrilled with it, but I'm okay with that. As long as I have the feeling in place. I was thinking I could get a hearing aid. The hearing aid won't help on the right side because I'm profoundly deaf. There's nothing that can be done on that side. But on the left side, a hearing aid would certainly help for conversation, but I feel like I would take it out when I'm listening to music. I think I want to feel like what I'm hearing is what I'm hearing, even if it's distorted or diminished somehow. It's weird, right? A hearing aid. But I don't want to feel like there's something in between what I'm hearing at the piano, even though what I'm hearing at the piano is functionally damaged. I just don't want to do it. And no one's making me, no one's forcing me to do it. So more to come on this. 5 days of Courtauld, throughout the day, so maybe an hour total a day, right? By all my usual practice, I'm going to focus on Courtauld. I'm away next week on vacation at Penzig, which is a medieval, the FCA, which I'll talk about that when I'm away. So if you don't know anything about that, keep an eye on these videos for next week. It'll be, seriously, if you've never heard of it, don't know what it is, it will be unlike anything you've ever heard. It's a great time. I'll be there for the week. My wife and daughter are there now for the first week. I'm joining them for the second week. I'm wrapping up a short story that I might mention more details on at the end of this week if I really have finished it. by then. There's some music tracks that are supplementary, and I need to get those up on Bandcamp before I make any talking about it. But once that's done, I'm going to return to my music writing. I haven't written anything major since the glaciation piece, which I still haven't recorded, because in my mind I'm waiting till I get my new piano, which will be in December, which seems like a ways away. Well, it felt like a ways away back in April, but now that it's August, September, waiting till December or January to do some recording. I have a bunch of pieces, my glaciation piece, the Wild Heights Song with Sorrow preludes, and maybe I would even dig out the earlier Red Hat Stickman preludes and re-record those. So I want to get my fingers in order. I have a set of pieces that I want to work on that are very rhythmic pattern-oriented pieces that will form one of the sections of the opera. And where I need to figure out some ideas. So I'm working on them as a solo piano piece. That's going to be the next major composition project, is to get that done. That will be for solo piano also. So important that I feel comfortable at the piano again, and maybe that will also reduce some of my ongoing and residual anxiety in general. So I just tried to turn the light on. I hope this video isn't too dark. Maybe it's moody. I also left the fan on as well, so you probably got an annoying fan sound. Well, there you go. No one ever accused me of being a perfectionist. So keep your wits about you.